Hello, my friends, family, esteemed colleagues. Since I'm not simply trying to just educate and show the faults of modern medicine and science in general, I'm also trying to wake up doctors. So I'm going always now lately, showing you the approach, the indoctrinated information or knowledge of the fake science, so that then I can explain the truth. And here I was asked to explain Crohn's disease. So here we go about Crohn's disease. Right away here, it's Crohn's disease is a type of inflammatory bowel disease. Okay, it causes inflammation, causes swelling of tissue, and actually affects the whole digestive tract from a mouth to anus. Okay, and it can lead to abdominal pain, severe diarrhea, fatigue, weight loss, and malnutrition. Okay, so Crohn's disease can be painful, debilitating. Okay, so this is information that we don't need much to dwell about, but here are symptoms. Diarrhea, fever, fatigue, abdominal pain and cramping, blood in your stool, mouth sores, reduced appetite, weight loss. Okay. Pain, drainage around inflammation. Inflammation can be involving spots, certain areas of intestine, of digestive system, or entire system. Okay? Other signs and symptoms. Now pay attention. Other signs and symptoms that you may have Crohn's disease. Inflammation of skin, eyes and joints, inflammation of the liver or bile duct, kidney stones, iron deficiency, delayed growth or sexual development in children. When to see doctor? Well, we always go to see doctor when we are in pain, no? Abdominal pain, blood in stool, nausea, vomiting. Okay, so now, causes. What causes this? The exact cause of Crohn's disease remains unknown, of course. Okay, previously, diet and stress were suspected. But now, okay, now we know more. That these factors may aggravate but not cause Crohn's disease. Okay, now, what may be linked to development of Crohn's disease? Immune system. Your immune system is going to destroy you, man. You don't know that? And of course your genes. Your genes are going to screw your life. Heredity. And who is in a risk more than others? Of course it's age-related. More toxic you are, more problems you're going to have. Or ethnicity. Well, this just depends on what your people are eating. Okay, they say that Jewish people in the United States suffer most from this. And yeah, in the family of my wife, ex-wife, she was a Jewish in New York City. And her family, there were several people suffering from intestinal problems. Several, almost all of them. Okay, but they were told they have irritable bowel syndrome. It's all the same crap. It's inflammation of intestines. Of course, family history, because you want to pinpoint it on genetics. Cigarette smoking. Now, cigarette smoking, we know it's toxic. And medication, anti-inflammatory medication. Well, we know medicines are toxic. Complications, bowel obstruction, ulcers, fistulas. Fistulas. What is fistula? Okay, those are like pouches. Anal fissures. Similar things, elongated. It can lead to colon cancer, skin disorders. Okay. Other problems, medication is. But now, as we are here in fistulas, why don't we skip to another disease called the diverticulitis. Diverticulitis, here we are, okay? Is infection or inflammation of pouches that can form in your intestines. So they are not normally there, but they may form. Now, what are symptoms of diverticulitis? Cramping on the left side of the abdomen that goes away when you pass a gas. Well, left side, right side, any part of the abdomen. Because diverticulitis does not affect only colon. It can affect almost any part of intestine, but it mostly affects colon, which I'm going to explain later when I talk about these things. And you can have bleeding from these diverticulums, and red blood can be found in your stool. What causes diverticulitis? Doctors aren't sure. They have no freaking clue. Of course they have no freaking clue, because we are being brainwashed. Okay? Now, all the attention is put on the pouches, on the diverticulums that form and how they get inflamed, but now not why did they form. What causes these pouches? Diverticulitis is being called only when the pouch inflames. But when pouch forms, nobody gives a damn, because it doesn't cause any pain. But later on, when it's discovered, it is being simply ignored. We just focus always on the inflammation because it causes pain. Now, what people are more susceptible to get hit by this? Overweight, smokers, and then not getting enough exercise, yeah. Eating lots of fat and red meat and not much fiber. All right, schmucks. Taking certain kinds of drugs. Of course, all drugs are toxic. And if you already have toxic overload, it's gonna make it worse. Well, if you don't treat it, and they have no clue how to treat it, other than with anti-inflammatory, abscesses can form. Perforation or tearing of the intestinal wall. Scarring. Okay. How do you diagnose it? Well, blood urine and stool test, look for infection, look for the stupid bug. Maybe you will find some helicobacter, and this is going to be your excuse to poison the body with antibiotic. Okay, CT scans, put camera. What difference does it make to show these diverticulums, to show these inflammations when you have no idea how they came about and how to prevent them? Number one, treatment should never have to be in play, because we should never allow development of these fistulas, of these pouches, diverticulums. Liver enzyme test to rule out liver problems. Well, it has nothing to do with diverticulitis. Oh, how do you treat it? If it's mild, doctors suggest rest and liquid diet while your intestines heal. They may give you antibiotics just in a case there was a bug that they missed, of course. All right. As you can see, there is no treatment. This is just controlling and suppression of symptom. And of course, when the situation becomes really terrible, surgery. You go under knife and they take part of your intestines out and they call it healing. Colonostomy. Okay, so now when we had our dose of stupidity, we are going to go and explain some things. So now when we have heard the word of experts, and colleagues, please just give yourself a chance to think. Just try. As you have seen for yourself, that Crohn's disease is a symbol, a label, pasted to symptoms of digestive problems related to inflammation of the intestines, which could be partial, and it can involve only one small part of the intestines, or not just intestines, the digestive tract from a mouth. This is why you can develop mouth blisters. And again, what is the blister? Blister is accumulation of plasma in mucosal tissue. That's what blister is, or in a skin. The plasma is toxic, which means it's part of a cleansing system. When body is trying to rid itself of toxins. So what happens is that if it happens on a cellular base, we have mesosome, microsome, garbage bag. If too much garbage has to be handled, we get cellular proliferation. So almost half a cell just separates and ends up being a toxic bag that has to be dealt with. And then you have appearance of blisters when body is trying to get the stuff out. Now, you could see, well, I showed it to you, what science is saying, that signs that you have Crohn's disease is eye inflammation, skin inflammation. Because if you have digestive problems and at the same time now you are showing skin inflammation, you are showing pain in the joints, you have a calculus, you have a kidney stones. Well, this is all caused because of Crohn's disease, because the wall of intestines becomes permeable, weak, and you can have seepage, which then is the reaction of body, which in severe cases of diverticulitis, for example, can give you a fever. Well, what did I explain? When cells dehydrate, they basically change shape, become acidic, and cannot hold electrical charge. We are electric robots run on energy called electricity. When a tissue, for example muscle tissue, becomes dehydrated on a cellular level, the tissue becomes brittle. It inflames because it tries to hydrate so it can cleanse at least sufficiently to hold the voltage, so it doesn't go in proliferation, which uncontrolled proliferation we called tumor or cancer. Or wart, papilloma. It's the same damn thing. And now what happens with muscle when the cells are short of energy, low on voltage? Well, muscle loses tension and it becomes brittle. And if there is additional pressure inserted on such a tissue, it may rupture. We call it hernia. It can herniate. Well, what are these pouches, diverticulums in diverticulitis? Those are basically herniated intestines. When you have accumulation of hard excrement, because all the water is being soaked back into circulation, not because you don't have plant fiber. This is utter nonsense. And increased pressure may cause intestine to herniate, to develop diverticulum. So you may have a lot of these herniated places in your intestine, but if they are not inflamed, you are not aware of them. But if they get inflamed, yeah, but also the rest of the intestine is most likely going to get inflamed at the same time. Now the problem is in diverticulum, this pouch. Food can get excrement can be trapped, and it can go through more fermentation where enzymes are being produced to deal with the stuff. More bacterial growth, because more toxicity, more bacterial growth. And all this increases toxic accumulation in this area. And it has influence on the cells of the intestinal wall of the pouch, diverticulum. And now we are getting into what we call allergic reaction, because the cells are trying to distance themselves from this. So they produce mucus. But you may be out of water. And mucus cannot be produced in sufficient amount. So the cells are going to have to cleanse themselves, to wash off whatever toxin is coming to them. For this, they need water. So forced hydration is being created to pump some water under pressure into the cell, so then cell can use it to rinse off. And this is inflammation. There is no bacteria involved in inflammatory processes. This is all nonsense, what we are being told in the school. Colleagues, please think a little bit. Because you can get inflammation, and if you make analysis, you can find sometimes bacteria or fungus, sometimes not. And whenever you are not finding any, but you have the inflammation that you know is caused by some gen that is creating antigen, which supposedly ends up with inflammation, then we go to our blackjack or trump card. We reach for virus. Okay, well, it's viral. Everything is viral when we don't understand shit. Virus doesn't exist. Nobody ever was able to isolate and prove the nucleic sequence of it. So, what is Crohn's disease? What is diverticulitis? Those are all health problems caused by dehydrated body, low levels of plasma, blood plasma, and low levels of intracellular plasma. Body cannot function like that. Body cannot cleanse. Body cannot hold on electrical charge, on energy. And starts falling apart. Of course, we don't know exactly where it comes from because we never think toxin. We only think microbe, pathogen. We are still clinging to this Louis Pasteur nonsense, fraud. So, when you have digestive problem of any kind, you are simply being poisoned. And what poisons you and you are ignored to cherish it is vegetables. cooked and raw. Plants, all plants are toxic. The more toxic, the more medicinal they are, because there is usually only some frequencies of them which are being toxic, and those frequencies may suppress your symptoms. So, because they have proximal value. So you don't feel the symptom, your inflammation goes down, your pain disappears. Okay, I'm healed by this medicine. No? The same thing is with surgery. You have a problem of inflamed diverticulums, of diverticulitis. Itis is always inflammation. Diverticulitis is inflammation of the diverticulum, of the pouch that has been created, of the herniated intestine. And why most of those problems are in colon? Because this is where most of the feces compacts before it goes out. It's being sucked of liquid, so the water can go back into circulation, and if we don't have enough, there's nothing left for keeping the stool soft. And such a hard excrement then accumulates and then creates intestines through their action. They create pressure and they have muscles. The muscles are brittle when they are dehydrated. And as muscle squeezes and there is a hard part, and hernia occurs. Very simple to explain. You don't have to be a brain scientist or a nuclear scientist. This should be obvious to every Joe Schmo, but not to doctors, because we are so brainwashed that we simply cannot see what is in front of our eyes. The program is rolling and saying, bacteria, bacteria, genetics, genetics. Nonsense, pure nonsense. Don't wait for bad things to happen to you. You eat something and you feel bloated afterwards. Stop eating it, which immediately eliminates most favorite foods of most people. We are talking about legumes, beans. No? Don't eat the crap if you want to be healthy. But we stop listening to our body. Well, my friends, we have to learn to observe and think. When we have diploma, it means we have been brainwashed, and only brainwashed has now right to do what they have diploma for. So, healing is allowed only by educated people with the diplomas. Well, I have demonstrated to you at the beginning of the video what educated experts know. If you are sick and you are asking doctors to help you, you are lost. If you are in North America, go to Indian Territory. Look for Indian healers. They'll help you. South America, same thing. plant healers. They're using toxic plants to heal you, but not only that. They're using shamanic abilities. We do that through ayahuasca. Some can do it without ayahuasca. Soon we will all be able to do it without ayahuasca because we will wake up. This area where I am now in Peru, jungle, but they are cutting the forest to make pasture for cows. Beef is being produced, sold. But cows very often end up with toxoplasmosis because they vibrate differently. They're coming to different area, too hot, too humid, and their system cannot take it. But, as I have mentioned in other videos, animals never separated their spirit from their soul. So when they see what is happening in their body, they smell, and if they can find plant that is going to counter this vibration, they will go and munch on it. And there is a particular tree that any part of the tree, being it bark, being it the tree matter itself, or leaves, branches, no? If you suck on them, or they can be also pulverized and taken as a powder or as a tincture, this frequency is being absorbed. And it is medicinal. And it counters this toxoplasmosis and many other problems. Again, it is not something that is benefiting your cells, but it shifts the frequency and basically guards you, protects you. So the cows go, they found this tree, and they start munching on it. But again, animal knows, okay, 2-3 bites and goes away. Knows how much of this toxin is enough. And they don't have problem anymore with toxoplasmosis. But we, no. We found out that garlic can slow down the speed of a heart, can prevent certain manifestations, certain symptoms. And now we put garlic in the food and we don't eat nothing without garlic. And what happens? Loss of eyesight, cataract, bad skin, like on a smoker, dehydration of the whole body, loose joints. Garlic. Medicine is toxic. Put it in this brain. I keep repeating these things because this is how brain slowly is going to shift the synapses, connections, and it will start processing things in a different way. Repetition es madre de studiorum. So, here we are, my friends, beating the dead horse every time I have a chance. Beat the dead horse, maybe it will get up. I love you all. Till next time, namaste.